we have our honorable speaker, Dr. L.S. Ganesh. Speaking about Dr. L.S. Ganesh, Dr. L.S. Ganesh graduated in 1977 in the BE Honours Program of Mechanical Engineering at BITS Pilani, Rajasthan. In 1979, he received the MTech degree in Maintenance Engineering and Management and a merit prize from IIT Madras. During 1980-84, he pursued a doctoral research program in the Industrial Engineering and Management faculty at IIT Madras. His research work involved the application of time series forecasting models and system dynamic concept to educational planning in Tamil Nadu schools. He received the degree in the year 1986. He worked as an assistant professor in the education management sector at IIM Bangalore during the year 1986 to 1987. Since 1987, he worked in the Industrial Engineering and Management faculty at IIT Madras as assistant professor till 1993, then as associate professor till December 1996, and then professor until April 2004, when the Department of Management Study was established in the institute. Later, he served as the HOD of Management Studies at IIT Madras from July 2004 till July 2008. In this role, he coordinated the location and development of complete academic, laboratory, office, and utilities infrastructure for the new premises of the department. He also coordinated the establishment of strategic academic relationship through MOUs between IIT Madras and leading national and multinational institutions, namely Indian School of Business at Hyderabad, University of Mannheim, Passau, and Bremen in Germany, Management Center at Innsbruck, Austria, State University of New York, and business organizations like Caterpillar, LIC of India, Atroad Software, Scope International. He strongly believes that India and Indians have exceptional capabilities that require well-directed and intention-focused organizational effort to enable them to fully flow and result in inspiring, fearless, and timeless achievements. We are very fortunate to have you, sir, for our session, and I hand over the session to you. We welcome you, sir, on behalf of entire fraternity of the Faculty Development Program. Thank you, sir. Please.
Good morning. Namaste. I thank the college for having invited me and Vishal for coordinating this session. At the outset, I would like to suggest that you may feel free to intervene at any point in time and offer your comments, share your observations, or pose some questions. So please do feel free. You need not wait till the end. That's not necessary. Of course, we'll have some time for the questions at the end also. So when Vishal had approached me about this program, I had suggested that one thing that I can share with great confidence and conviction is about the MS Entrepreneurship program and its evolution in my institute, IIT Madras. And I believe that's a very interesting program worthy of replication in other institutions also with the due adaptations. So I thought I can share some of my knowledge and experiences in that program. I will obviously give you many examples of what has happened over the years. Broadly, and to begin with, this program is probably the first master's level program in our country. Its history goes back to 1982-83. Now you can understand what we are talking about, almost 40 years ago, when the word entrepreneurship, in fact, very surprisingly, I found later something that you will find a little humorous. In 1990, November 1990, I was sitting in the IIT Madras Stadium with my wife in the evening, enjoying the breeze and the children playing around. There was a tap on my shoulder, and I turned back and I saw Professor N.V.C. Swami, the then director of IIT Madras. He said, "Ganesh, I want to talk to you." I said, "Fine, please. Tell me, sir, what is it?" He said that I'll be very happy if you could coordinate a institute perspective planning exercise. Ordinarily, perspective planning is done for the very long term. That means something like 15 to 20 years, we do perspective planning. Anywhere between 5 to 8 years, we do strategic planning. In management, we try to differentiate perspective planning, strategic planning, medium term planning, short term planning, and so on. So he wanted a 15 to 20-year perspective plan for the institute at that time. And I'll quickly come to why the connection with MS Entrepreneurship comes. Okay. I did that exercise, and in February of 1991, I had made the results public in a meeting of all the faculty in our central lecture theatre. And one of the major questions asked was about the direction of effort that IIT Madras should undertake at that time, given the resources that we had, the faculty resources, the financial resources, the technology, infrastructure, and material resources, the organizational, managerial resources, and the networks and relationships we had with the external world. These are all the 5 major resources. And one of those activities, one of those 8 or 9 activities, included entrepreneurship, education, and promotion. And as I had anticipated at that time, this was ranked 8th by a majority of the faculty who had voted. And that was pretty surprising to me in a sense, because I somehow felt that people should have seen, at least in the IIT system, I believe that faculty should be able to see 20 years ahead. And I'm a very great critic of some things that we do in our country. Even today, I don't have an answer to the question, why are we so, devotional to the white-skinned people? I cannot understand that. When are we going to get out of this bind? It's a question that has dominated my mind. I can assure every one of you, we are no less than them intellectually and philosophically, and even pragmatically. Our circumstances are different. Nevertheless, and I had anticipated at that time that entrepreneurship would become big in about 20 years, which it did actually. Now, today, startups and entrepreneurship is a buzzword almost in every institution in our country. Okay. And this is also important from a different point of view. And when you make your initiatives or launch your initiatives, please do take care. And this is a very good principle. Please note there's something called the curse of the leader, which all of you must become aware. A leader is a person can see what others don't see. But that's also a challenge, because others don't see what the leader sees. Very difficult to convince the others. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. But nevertheless, this is what has happened. And of course, as expected, the first rank was occupied by, I think, the teaching programs at that time, and then the research programs, and so on. So we came down. Rank number 8 was entrepreneurship, education, and promotion. Anyway, I had anticipated to a good extent this would happen, but I was a little surprised. At the same time, I explained why. That was over. And then I turned my attention to the MS Entrepreneurship program, which by that time had slowed down a bit from 82, 83. And I was trying to understand why did that happen. I went and contacted a friend of mine, Dr. Balakrishnan, who at that time was the chief techno-economic officer of the Center for Industrial Consultancy and Sponsored Research at IIT Madras. I'm confident that some of you may be alumni of IIT Madras here. Okay, I'm very confident because there are a lot of people who come into the QIP programs, and I've always valued the QIP research scholars. I'm being very frank. They've been some of the best research scholars I've come across, because they work with purpose and passion, both. It's a fantastic combination. And the purpose, passion, and persistence. That's a deadly combination for anybody. You can add one more P, pragmatism. Okay, so that had happened. And Balakrishnan shared something very interesting, because he shared the feedback. Now, where did he come in? From 1982-83, when the program started, the governance of the program and administration of the program were vested with the Center for Industrial Consultancy and Sponsored Research, okay, which was the external facing unit of IIT Madras. Please note, all the departments are primarily internal facing. So any sponsored project that the institute wished to do or the faculty members wish to do, or any consulting experience that they obtained from the outside world would be routed through the IC&SR. And Dr. Balakrishnan was the chief techno-economic officer. So naturally, the administration of the program was vested with him. And I knew that the program was a very good program because one of my closest friends, one Dr. Srikanth, who later would be a professor in the Haas School of Business in the UC Berkeley, and also became a top officer in Delta. It's a top HR company, international company. Okay. Now, he later returned to India. He's there. He's also closely associated with entrepreneurship and startups in IIT Madras. A fantastic expert. He was among the first students who joined the program in '83, soon after graduating from IIT Madras. Incidentally, in his final year, he was the academic affairs secretary of the institute. So obviously, he sat through the Senate meetings in which the program was discussed, okay, and accepted for launch. So he was in the first batch. If I remember right, I think there were 4 or 5 students who had joined in the first batch. So Dr. Balakrishnan shared with me that over the years, that is from 82, 83 until about, say, even 95, 96 at that time, okay. Actually, I had met Balakrishnan way after the perspective plan. Okay, it was not immediately in 91 or something like that. I was curious and I was following the program a bit, okay, let me tell you that, because I was a part of the graduate test committee or general test committee of the MS Entrepreneurship Research Scholars. Okay, so I was following the program closely, and I waited for my time. So then, in the second half of the 90s, I went to Balakrishnan. That was the story I have been narrating. That has been the story, and he told me, LSG, this program has done fairly well so far, but there is a problem. He was anticipating the problem. And correctly, because it happened. What he anticipated happened actually. Okay. He said that we are slowly losing our foundations in the program. This is also important information for all of you who may like to put your creative juices to work, and try to work out some initiatives in your own institutions to support entrepreneurship. Okay. So he said that, look, there are some phenomena that I'm observing which I wish to share with you. What was the first one? It's a fantastic lesson. He said, LSG, everybody's baby becomes nobody's baby. I think you understand this truth. Okay, it's a fantastic truth. And what he said was true because the program was governed by the Center for IC&SR, which is not an academic department. And please understand, IC&SR is a service department. Okay, and it so happened that in the Senate meeting that approved the program, everybody accepted that the departments will accept the students. They could apply through the IC&SR, and the students will be selected based on a rigorous process, which included entrepreneurial orientation psychometric test also. Okay, and in the early years, I must share here, the program received some degree of external support from Canara Bank and State Bank of India officers. This is very fascinating, because I am told that they had sat in the interviews, okay, to select these candidates after applying all the tests, etc. It was quite a long test. The candidates were present in the campus for about 5 to 6 hours in the day. Okay, it was not just a short 40-minute or 50-minute interview. So a rigorous interview. And they were selected. And after being selected, the assignment to the departments was being made by friendly contact between the IC&SR and the departments. Now, it's very important because all of you should note, informal relationships often are stronger than formal relationships. I think all of you would know that already. I'm not telling you something new. Very often your informal relationships work effectively compared to formal relationships. Okay. Anyway, uh, so everybody's baby did become nobody's baby by the time we hit 98, 99 academic year, because the registrations came down to zero. Okay. Enrollment into the program, applications also dwindled very badly. The good news that Balakrishnan shared with me at that time, when I met him again about the program, was that he said, Ganesh, we have collected some, we've made some documents out of what has happened in the program. I'm very happy to share with you that there were more than 50 candidates who had graduated out of the program across the years from 82, 83 until that time, 98, 99. And he said he had data, he was following up, and he had data on more than 25 candidates who were practicing entrepreneurs. Their life was entrepreneurship. And he also gave a good news that a handful of them were supplying technologies or materials to IIT Madras. So that was very interesting. Okay. And I also knew that some of these people did very well because, having been a member of the General Test Committee, or the Graduate Test Committee, GTC as we call it, I was observing the technologies being developed or invented by these young people. And I felt that there was hope, because very often we must respect our students for one character that they have, which we normally lose by the time we hit middle age. Above 35, we'll sort of lose that character slowly. I would say a middle-aged teacher's character can be expressed as stand and stare, because we slowly become researchers. And researchers' duty is to stand and stare and absorb what's happening, build mental models, ask fundamental questions. That's what we do. Whereas the orientation or the basic character of a very young person, especially a college student, is dare and bear. I think you understand that, no? They're very daring. The word impossible doesn't make sense to them, many of them, So they would rather dive in and break their heads before they say something is not possible. And we have to respect that character, because that's what makes for a great institution. And later, many years later, IIT Madras did exactly that, thanks to Professor Idi Chandi, who was the then, I think, former dean of students and then became deputy director. He was a professor of ocean engineering, a good friend, and a person who rose through the ranks to become a professor and the dean of students and the deputy director. A very perceptive person. He proposed the idea of a center for innovation. I think this happened in this sometime around 2000 plus 5 plus minus. I don't know the exact year. Okay, I do not. I will not be precise, but I know that's probably in the second half of the first decade of this century. And the Center for Innovation was characterized by a theme: come in with an idea, go out with a product. It's a very wonderful theme. So please understand this. Sometime after the limbo position of the MS Entrepreneurship Program. As I told you, 98, 99, the entrepreneurship program went into limbo. There was nothing in the pipeline also. The pipeline had dried by that time. And as was correctly anticipated by Dr. Balakrishnan earlier on, he did say this is likely to happen because he was thinking about this: everybody's baby becomes nobody's baby. And he also found that the in-spirit support by the guides of the students, the technical guides of the students in the engineering departments, was not strong. Because it was, in some sense, as we say, if I may use a word which is not a very good word, but it is used by some authors in literature. Okay, I'm using that word. It became a pariah program in some sense. It's a very, very sad state of affairs at that time. an outcast, if you want, an orphaned program. That's probably the best description I can give. The program was sort of orphaned, and the main reason was nobody was willing to take the championship of the program. I'm giving you another very important point. Please have somebody champion this program with passion, purpose, pragmatism, and persistence in your institutions if you wish to launch such an initiative. Because if you do not have a champion, please forget it. Things are not going to work out. Things will not work out. So nobody was that kind of a champion. And naturally, the program decayed and went into the death phase at that time. I mean, coma phase or limbo phase. So we put in our efforts from 98, 99. That was about the time I was one of the founding professors of a small student-led unit called the Cell for Technology Innovation, Development and Entrepreneurship Support, C-TIDES, as we call it. Of course, C-TIDES was a symbolic name. Tides never stop. So C-TIDES was something that we gave euphemistically. The Cell for Technology Innovation, Development and Entrepreneurship Support. And students did a good job. This started in 98, 99, and then we led it. It coincided with the joint efforts between Dr. Balakrishnan and me towards reinventing, reviving, and relaunching the program, the MS Entrepreneurship program. We looked hard at the feedback obtained from various sources about the work of the young entrepreneurs, those 25 plus or 50 plus people who had gone through the program. And that was interesting because one feedback stood out from the external experts who had come to judge the theses. At this stage, I must share with you that the MS Entrepreneurship student has to submit 2 theses, not one. Please note, 2 theses. Okay. What are these 2 theses? One is the technical thesis. Okay. That is a defense of the technology being proposed by the student, the candidate. Okay. And what is the basis for the defense or justification? The basis is research literature. Now, that's why it was a research-based entrepreneurship program. Broadly, there are 2 types of entrepreneurship programs that we can identify. One is research-based, and the other is Me Too. Okay. So, suppose I also want to open up an Adayar Ananda Bhavan or Sangeeta restaurant in Chennai. Now, that's called a Me Too. I'm also jumping into the bandwagon. Can I offer value? Yes, I can. I will offer very good, nutritious, tasty, and dishes with good service and in a good ambience. I can also do that. But am I really discovering something new and inventing it and promoting the product? No, I'm not. Yeah, maybe today there's a lot of creativity in the menu cards being shown by all these restaurants. A lot of creativity. But I appreciate that. But it's still a Me Too. Whereas these students in the technical thesis had to go through literature, research literature, find gaps in technology, and defend their ideas using that basis of research literature and the gaps. The second thesis is very important because the second thesis is the business defense thesis, where they have to talk about finances, markets, resources to run their startups. Okay. Now, that's not an easy proposition. Okay. It's not an easy proposition. And that's exactly where the critique had come dominantly from the outside sources, which included experts who came in to evaluate the theses, sit through the Viva Voce, and grant the degrees, as well as the bank officials, who were supporting the program. And what was this feedback? Look, your technical thesis is fantastic, no problems, but your business thesis sucks. I think you understand what I'm saying. There's no meat in the business thesis. It was then that I shared with Dr. Balakrishnan, sir, since the business thesis is a part and parcel of the program, okay, why don't we please ensure, okay, that the management department becomes the coordinating department. We will own the program. Okay. By that time, as we moved along in our discussions over the years, between 98, 99 and further, okay, until the relaunch of the program in 2005, okay, that's a clean period of 7 to 8 years, during which we had discussed that on several occasions, long sessions of 2 hours, 3 hours, okay. I had proposed this, that the management department, I became head of the department in 2004. You know? So there were some things I could move, obviously, with that kind of power and authority that a HOD will have. You know? Fortunately for me, there was fulsome support from all my faculty colleagues in the department at that time. I'm really grateful to every one of them for having supported this. All of them saw the merits of the program and said, yes, it makes sense. So we then decided that the Department of Management Studies will be the coordinating department in our redesign or reinvention of the program. And we will have the sister department, science, engineering, technology, even humanities and social sciences, as our partner departments in running the program. What does this imply? This implies that every student who would be admitted into the program, okay, every student who would be admitted into the program would have 2 guides, one from the Department of Management Studies to support the business end of the MS thesis, MS entrepreneurship thesis, okay. The second person would be the technical guide from the engineering department. It could be biotech, it could be applied mechanics, it could be mechanical, it could be computer science, whatever, okay, or electrical or metallurgy. So one professor from the technical sister department and one from the Department of Management Studies, 2 guides, okay. And the administrative control was vested with the Department of Management Studies. I explained why, because the management part of the thesis was common to all the MS entrepreneurship thesis. The technical part was not common because it would depend on the parent department. I hope you got it. Okay. So even if we take the case of a single thesis, then in the earlier avatar, with an attempt to provide a chapter on management, you know what I'm saying now. You can understand what I'm saying. The management part would have been visibly weak or perhaps even non-existent, which was not acceptable to the external experts, especially those in the world of business. Because the businessman will look at the technology second, will look at the market first, the value addition then, and then the money and revenues that can be made, you know, and sustenance of the business. This is how the business mind will work. So this is what happened. And as the universal spirit granted, we reinvented, relaunched, and offered the program again. Okay, redesigned, completely redesigned program. I had made a blunder at that time, which I'm sharing with you. Okay, in the redesign, I had written in the clause, you know why I'm saying all this has to go through the Board of Academic Courses, Board of Academic Research, and the Senate of the Institute. I hope you understand this. Okay, this is what happens administratively in the program. Okay, and obviously we have to submit a document, a proposal that will be evaluated by the members of these boards and the members of the Senate. So we have to make it rock solid. And we had put something, some conditions, which in retrospect I think are very wrong. Okay, are very wrong. We should not have done that. And the condition was that because it's an MS entrepreneurship program, the degree itself will be stamped as MS brackets entrepreneurship to distinguish it from the MS brackets research program. Okay, so IIT Madras had 2 MS programs. Even now it has both the programs, MS entrepreneurship and MS brackets research. Okay, some of you may be aware of the alumni of IIT Madras will be aware of the MS by research programs. Okay, then so the condition was they will do courses in the technical department and in the management studies department. Okay, during the first semester, and during the first year, they will present their idea and defend their idea. Now, this was a big blunder. Now, let me share with you why it is a blunder. It is unfair to expect a young person to submit an idea and defend it within 1 year of joining the program. It's really unfair. And I discovered that in 2005-6 academic year. People can't do that, sir. Young people find it very, very difficult because um, I was romantic. I'll put it that way. I was not pragmatic. I thought, okay, these guys will burn the midnight oil in the library, go through the research literature, and then come back and identify. I mean, they will be fired up, all fired up, etc. I was wrong. I was wrong on two counts. The first count was the midnight oil wasn't being burned. Why was the midnight oil not being burned? I'm also sharing with you about the behavior of the students at that time. Why was the midnight oil not being burnt? Very simple. At that time, when they joined the program, for the students who were selected through the same kind of rigorous process which existed earlier, the MS program was a survival program, not a program of pursuit of passion. Please understand, many cases, people drift into our research programs in many of our institutes. And very often it's a case of I have to do research because I have to survive. Okay. It's not that I am in love with research, therefore I will do research. It's very rare that kind of an attitude comes in. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is the competence of this young person. I don't think they had that competence to come up with a product idea, observe the market, do the literature reviews, find the gaps, discover the technology, prototype it, etc., and then come in. Okay, that did not happen. That did not happen. Okay, now that was the blunder. Obviously, we modified the thing and said that okay, we'll give one of the biggest supports because adapt. I'm also sharing something with you. Whenever you launch a new program, whatever it is, especially this kind of a program, which is not course based, which is more of it's knowledge and experience based, please give time to the student. Don't expect things to work like a clockwork. It doesn't happen in the real world. Okay, so we gave time to the student. Okay. So this is what had happened. 2005, we launched the program. We selected 6 students through the same kind of rigorous process, psychometric test, external support, etc. Okay, but this time we didn't have State Bank of India and Canara Bank on our partnership. Okay, not of course we had friends sitting in the interviews. That's a different point, but not representing the bank. I hope you got it. That's the difference between this is what I call informal relationship success. Okay, the success of the informal relationship. So they came, said fine. We selected 6 students. 2005, July, August, these guys joined. There was one girl also. Okay, very happy. We out of about some 11 or 12 applicants, we found these people very good. So we said, okay, we selected these 6 people. At the end of the first semester, one young man dropped out of the program. Okay, the other 5 stuck on to complete the program, but they completed it some years later. Okay, in fact, some I would like to put in inverted quotes. Okay, that's very, very important because it took not earlier than 2009 for them to complete the program. Okay, so imagine an MS program, a young person joins at the age of whatever, 22, 23, 24, some after work experience also, and work on, and expecting them to complete it in 2 or 3 years, really unrealistic in this kind of a program. Normal MS by research, they finish it in 3 years. Rarely do they go beyond 3 years. Okay, it's like our PhD. I think all of you know, no? Normally, a PhD student finishes PhD in the 5th year. That is, after the 5th year has started, they finish usually. Okay, that's the modal frequency of finishing time of a PhD. Sometimes it goes into a long period. I am aware of a very interesting case which I must share with you many years later in the Senate, because these are interesting to all faculty colleagues everywhere in the country. when I was a member of the Senate, one of the agenda items was there was a person who was an external registration PhD in IIT Madras who wanted to have exemption to defend his thesis 17 years after he had submitted the thesis. How do you like this? Okay, 17 years. Of course, I am aware that fundamentally IIT Madras is a kind place. I can tell you that much. Okay. So the Senate said, yeah, he has a right to defend the thesis, but during these 17 years, many things would have happened in the world of research. So he better be aware of all that. He can't come and say, my thesis refers to 17 years before. Don't ask me questions in between. Now that's stupid if somebody says that. Okay. You can't do that in the world of technical research. But we permit it. We permit it. I believe the person got the degree also. Anyway, so I just went into that spin just to share this academic research oriented tidbit with you. Okay. Then, so these people finished around, earliest was 2009. But I have something very nice to share with you. 2 or 3 of these people won very big awards. Okay. At least one of them won the NRDC Young Innovator Award of 2010. He is a practicing entrepreneur right now, a very dear friend of mine also. He's doing well. I don't know how many of you have heard of this e-portal called btechguru.com. In case you know of it, the promoter is this young man called Balaraj. We are very dear friends today, and he's doing very well. Anyway, he finished. Then there's another young person called Prashant Karthik. He also finished. And I will tell you something about, I told you I'll give you examples. I must tell you something about their theses. Okay. Balraju's thesis were very, very interesting. It dealt with internet electronic transactions security. Okay. In fact, the award that he received from NRDC was for his security product, which was officially technology transferred to IndusInd Bank via an organization which some of you would know, Polaris Software in Chennai. Okay. Polaris Software acquired a small organization to which the technology was transferred. Okay. So IndusInd Bank held the launch function of this security product in IIT Madras. We're all very proud to see that product. So official case of technology transfer. It's a very interesting technology. Balraju's worked with 2 guides. Okay. One thing that I had done at that time was I mentored all these people until they gave what is called the pre-feasibility report. Okay. So these MS entrepreneurship students had to defend a pre-feasibility report, after which they could work further on the product or prototype and submit their thesis. Okay. So I held charge for these 5 people until they submitted the pre-feasibility report. Okay. And soon after the defense, I transferred these 5 people to my colleagues in the department, my younger colleagues in the department, because I knew that would be a great help in many ways. Okay. And I believe it would have been. Okay. It should have been. Okay. Fine. That means my name will only come in the acknowledgements of the thesis, not as a guide. I'm very clear about that, because this is a very important lesson for everybody. In the practice of management, the greatest objective of any leader is to foster synergy in his or her unit or department or division, whatever it is. Synergy and bringing about synergy is the biggest objective of any leader. And I want you to understand this basic principle. Synergy is impossible without small sacrifices. It's impossible. If the leader stands on his or her ego, you can write off that department, division, or institution. I'm sure all of you have experienced very egoistic leaders, and you would have detested them. I can tell you that much. All of us would have gone through that nonsense. I'll be terribly surprised if somebody says, no, sir, I've had a saint as the leader. Okay. I'll be terribly surprised. I'll be the first person to do namaskar to that person if such a person exists. Okay. Anyway, we'll come to this. Sometimes, even if the leader is good, the head of the department is a villain, in our institutions. Anyway, that's just in a lighter vein. So then we did this and did the transfers. And these students then submitted the thesis. Balraju's was on Internet Electronic Transaction Security. I told you, he got a national award. Then we had Deepthi, the girl, who worked on a very interesting device. Later, she changed her direction also. Her initial thesis was on developing a sensor to be placed externally, a non-invasive sensor to be placed on the pulse point on the wrist of every person who needs diagnosis. What was her logic? She said, very good Ayurvedic physicians could identify more than 100 variety of pulse patterns. I'm being Kerala, you people would know. It's the homeland of Ayurveda, actually. Okay. So she said, sir, if I can interface with such master Ayurvedic practitioners, I should be able to capture the patterns of the pulses through a sensor and view it through an oscilloscope. I hope you got it. So it enables the diagnosis to become better for the patients. That was her idea. I thought that was a brilliant idea. Okay. And she worked with a faculty in applied mechanics, who's a very good inventor himself. Okay. He's done very well. I know he's running his own company right now in the IIT Madras research part. I'm very happy to have associated with him. Dr. Manivannan. Okay. He's in the applied mechanics department. So Deepthi joined with him, but later she found that it was becoming very intractable for her, because please understand, the invention of such a device, development, prototyping and testing will take years by even corporate organizations. Please understand this. For a single person to invent such a device in a MS entrepreneurship program is far too romantic. So later she changed into an organizational form being proposed. She proposed an integration of organizations across clinics, across inventors, and across academia. Okay. And her thesis was also accepted. In fact, was commended by the examiners. That's a very nice idea. And for the benefit of patients, this must be done in our country. Okay. And she defended it beautifully also. That is the thing. The third guy, very interesting. The fourth person. One was Prashant Karthik, I told you. I named Prashant Karthik, drifted into Deepthi. Prashant Karthik did what is called as peer-to-peer content sharing. So he demonstrated his technology with about 10 to 12 computers in the management studies lab, where content could be stored on somebody's machine and could be shared peer-to-peer across the other 10 to 12 machines. Are you understanding? Okay. So this was a very nice process. He was guided in the Department of Computer Science by Professor Janakiram, who's currently the director of IDBRT in Hyderabad. Okay. So Janakiram was a very passionate computer science, teacher researcher. So he put in a lot of his efforts on this thesis. And when the technology was proved, they were all very happy. I have a sad news to tell you. Among these five, Balraju is the only practicing entrepreneur. Deepthi is a Me Too entrepreneur. She runs a sari shop in Tirupati. I can tell you that much. Okay. A designer sari shop in Tirupati. So in a sense, she's a business person and an entrepreneur, but not an entrepreneur in the sense that I would like her to have been. That's a different story, but that happens. But I'm very happy because that spirit has taken over her and she's practicing business and trade. I hope you got it. I'm very happy in that sense. So you must be prepared for all those things to happen. Please. All these things will happen. Okay. Then Prashant Karthik also, I told you, peer-to-peer content sharing and content streaming, particularly video content. Now, where is this guy? He is working on the very technology that he had developed in his MS entrepreneurship program in a very big Australian IT company. So he's living in Sydney now, in Australia. And that company literally grabbed him. They're very happy with the kind of technology that he had developed. So that's become very big. Okay, like this. Then there's another guy. I'm forgetting the name immediately. It's coming on the tip of my tongue. Okay, I will probably share later. He did something called storage technology, data storage technology, network storage technology. Okay, he was guided by Dr. Kamakoti of computer science, and many of you may know he is the chairperson of the one of the very big initiatives of the government of India right now. Okay, he's also the inventor of a particular chip, a processor, a microprocessor, which has been in the news, Shakti microprocessor, which has been in the news a lot over the last some months. So very good professor, again very passionate, and so this network storage was also proposed and developed, okay, by this young man. Name starts with S. Suddenly, I'm not getting the name. Okay. Now, this technology was pitted against Hewlett-Packard's storage technology, and this guy could show a factor of 70 reduction in cost and a 3x performance improvement. Now, you know what I'm saying. 70 times improvement in cost and 3 times improvement in performance through his technology, network storage technology. Okay, so this guy could do that. So the fifth guy is a teacher now called Raghavendra, very interesting guy. He did in metallurgy. Okay, and he had a guide in management and a guide in metallurgy department. And physics department, because his thesis dealt with materials. Okay, so his guide, Dr. B.S. Murthy, is currently the director of IIT Hyderabad. Okay, and metallurgy professor, a very great researcher, is a Bhatnagar Award winner and a distinguished professor in IIT Madras. So this guy had developed a new technological process for microsintering of barium titanate. Now, that's very, very important because in engineering practice, barium titanate becomes very, very important. Okay. And the external expert who came to evaluate his presentations is an acknowledged international expert on chemical engineering and metallurgical engineering also. He said, Professor Ganesh, this guy is sitting on a diamond mine. I think you should realize the kind of implications of his technology. Phenomenal work has been done by him. Okay, so this chap did on barium titanate microsintering powder, metallurgical powder, barium titanate powder. So he's now a teacher. Okay, so these 5 people graduated at different points in time after 2009. Okay. And then in 2006, we didn't select anybody. Because there were applications we didn't select. 2007, we selected one person, Arul Shekhar. This is another interesting thing. Because Arul Shekhar launched a social business. It's very, very interesting. Arul Shekhar had worked with a very leading IT company in India. After 3 years, he was a bit frustrated with his job. He found something about this program and said, okay, I'm going to IIT Madras, join the program. So we selected him for his passion and the purpose, and we felt that he would become a very good entrepreneur. He is today. He is into agricultural entrepreneurship right now. He is settled in Pondicherry and is engaged in agricultural entrepreneurship, certain types of grains, exotic grains and supply chains, etc. So that's his work. But what did he do, which was fascinating? I'm confident that all of you here will find it very fascinating because it has something to do with your land also, Kerala. Okay. This guy spent 2 years after the registration, mastering the Western Ghats and relationships with tribals in the Western Ghats. Okay, very fascinating. Huh? He spent a lot of time with the tribals in the Western Ghats, both sides of the Western Ghats, Kerala as well as Tamil Nadu or Tamil Nadu. Okay, so he mastered the relationships with them, all the time wanting to build an exotic tourist organization. And what was the philosophy? The philosophy was simple. I'll take tourists to places which are offbeat, which are exotic, which are not in the regular routes, like no Kodaikanal, no Ooty, no Munnar. I hope you got it. I'll take them to places which are absolutely breathtaking, where they can safely stay. In fact, safety was his top priority, where they can safely stay with the tribal families who will provide them with safety and hospitality, and also educate them about the forest produce and nature. So they will have an experience like none other in their lifetime, a once in a lifetime experience. Did he succeed? His company Ecologin is still operational, but run by his partner Sridhar. They're doing very well. They've got into a lot of marketing of forest products, especially exotic honey samples. So they now deal with distributing honey samples, exotic honey. Very interesting. But Arul Shekhar is also doing well. Incidentally, Ecologin got the Duke of Edinburgh International Award. Okay, very fascinating. Then 2009, we had another person. I'm not in touch with that person. Something went off and there were some issues. So I've not been in touch with that person, but I know he's an entrepreneur. Okay. I mean, otherwise a good entrepreneur. Okay. Sometimes you have to be very careful on our personal character also. That's very, very critical. So competence alone is not enough in education. Competence development is low-hanging fruit. Character development is more difficult. So you have to really worry about that.
Sorry, you were telling about Sridhar Lakshmanan.
Sridhar Lakshmanan is now heading Ecologin. He is an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
So he was a partner of this guy, Arul Shekhar.
Yeah, I have seen his TEDx speech.
Yeah. He's a very, very good speaker also. And we interact occasionally. I am sharing all these examples, Vishal, because these examples are very rich for all the participants.
Yes.
Because now your creative juices can start. I can't even imagine what you people will be thinking now. Okay, in that sense. And I don't know how you will influence your students. That's why I gave you all the variety, from micro sintering of barium titanate, through network storage, to peer-to-peer video sharing, through sensors, to internet transaction security, through tourism, exotic tourism.
Yes.
So it was a business proposition all the way. I hope you got it. Okay.
Yes.
Then, of course, the good thing about Arul Shekhar and Sridhar was 1/3 of their revenues would be shared with the tribals. That's where the social entrepreneurship part came. But something unexpected, undesirable, unanticipated also happened. What was that? The young people they trained, Arul Shekhar shared with me later, the young people they trained started moving out of their companies, their tribe and habitations into urban areas. That's seen as a promotion. So if I move from the forest to the city, from the real jungle to the concrete jungle, I mean, we idiots think it's a promotion. I don't know whether it's a promotion. Honestly, I would challenge that any day. I'm not saying we don't need concrete jungles. That's a wrong notion, because that's the way we have lived our life. I am a part of a concrete jungle. But the point is, can we split time between the real jungle and the concrete jungle to balance our own lives? I think it's eminently possible. There are ways in which we can do that. So 2009, we had, in fact, a person. 2011, we had, I think, 3 people joined with me. One of them dropped out in a sense after a very advanced stage of development. But that guy is an entrepreneur right now. Murali Vaidyanathan. Very interesting case. He runs some kind of a financial services portal, in trade. I am aware of that. I can check that and confirm with you also. Murali Vaidyanathan, he's doing something very interesting uh, in that space. The second guy, Shaktivel, a very interesting character. He is from a farming family in Tindivanam, you know. So he comes from a farming family in Tindivanam. So he developed a non-contact sensor that could estimate moisture content in soil up to 6 inches subsoil over a 100-meter radius. Okay, this was very interesting. Shaktivel also received the Prime Minister's Award. I think this was a few years ago, of 5 crores. Okay, for his technology development. He also received the CII Agripreneur Award some years ago. A very inventive chap, very passionate, very persistent. In fact, I recall he tested his technology in our IIT Madras stadium first. He puts a sensor on a stump which is about 1 meter tall and which communicates with some satellites and then does the calculations. And then he visited Taiwan and Germany to prove his technology, and they had very good feedback from there. People said this is very, very useful technology for farmers, especially moisture estimation in the soil is very critical inputs to the farmer. So this guy did that. Okay, but there was a catch. I must tell you this also. Now this is the nonsense that's happening in our country. I'm going public. I'm on record. Please. And government officials better listen to me on this. You guys are the bigger mess up in our country. When you are not supposed to do this, I'm being very open. I have said this even earlier before retiring. So please understand, you could have punished me before, but you did not, out of whatever good sense. Now I have retired. So to hell with you guys. Okay. You guys are messing up. You know what was the problem? Shaktivel was told, we will give you 5 crores if you go give collateral of 5 crores. Now, where on earth will this guy go for collateral of 5 crores, sir? He is asking 5 crores for development of the technology. You guys don't know that technology has to be developed with investment? Don't you have common sense? I'm sorry, Vishal. Sometimes I get very, very angry at this kind of nonsense going on in our country.
Yeah, that's sense.
I mean, don't you invest in DRDO, DST, etc., DBT? Why do you invest for technology development? Just because this is a private party, you think there is a risk? You think he's going to run away from the country? Come on. If you can't judge a passionate Indian citizen, why the hell are you serving in government? I don't understand this. Anyway, leave this. I'll return back. I've vented my anger now. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Anyway, come back. Of course, today the technology has advanced very much because I must share, I spent some time in IIM Bangalore in early 2020. I was associated with the NSR cell there, and I'm still associated with one very good organization called NEOPERK, NEOPERK. You can search. There are 3 or 4 young people who have produced very advanced technology sensors for soil nutrient estimation across different types of soils. I think they are very advanced in their technology and are getting into legal partnerships with some organizations and institutions. Okay. Good. Yes, that's it. You can view that also. It's very interesting. My dear friends and colleagues in the system, engineering education system, I hope now you will understand why I have shared with you earlier on that ours is a truly great country. It is time we started believing in ourselves, our imagination, our creativity, our intelligence, our critical thinking powers, our own patriotism. Why are we so dependent on somebody else? We are capable a lot to serve ourselves and the world at large. There are several points which we must take care of. Unfortunately, we're not doing that. We are a very peculiar case of the paradox of individually brilliant and collectively mediocre. That is the paradox we represent. When are we going to become collectively brilliant? I don't understand that. Okay, that's why I'm posing this. And please understand, our best bet for the future is our students. because we are like a chain. All of us will age. I am in the last leg of my life. I'm 66 now. Okay, so I'm looking at whatever there is beyond. I don't know, and I'm very eager to experience that also. I'm telling you that. I'm a little tired of this planetary experience now. Yeah, I want to experience something very different. I know I can never become nothing. Nobody can become nothing. I know I will always be something. So I'm a firm believer in the concept of the Atma. I'm a firm believer in that. There is something inside us which cannot die. Okay, it's impossible. Philosophically, it's impossible because something can never become nothing. Okay. Anyway, apart from all that spiritual bull that I shared with you now, okay, come. So Shaktivel. Then there was another lady, Ramya Thanga, very interesting because she did her master's in UT Dallas, came back to India, and she developed a very nice technology for the world of fashion. She's not a practicing entrepreneur, but she's very eager to promote her technology, and I can assure you that it's a very interesting technology. Very unfortunately, the world of business is also very cutthroat. See, they want the world without payment, despite the fact that they are business people. How stupid of them! How can you get something without payment, without the due payment? If you cannot judge value properly, I don't know what kind of a businessman these people are. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, what is her technology? She did what is known as virtual model. So, if you go over to a mall or a drapery shop and want to find out, you really like some garment, and you want to test how it will look on you, fit you, including the dynamics. If I turn, what will happen? Especially sometimes women may have that testing instinct. They will want to turn and see what happens. I want to look like this. I want to look like this. How will I look? Whatever, it may be jewelry or any accessories or dress also. Even that is captured in her software. It involved a little bit of AI. Okay, early stages. Okay, she was guided by Sukhendu Das. Shaktivel was guided by Professor Devendra Jalihal of electrical engineering. Okay. Murali Vaidyanathan dropped out before completing. He did advanced work. He did not present his pre-feasibility report. He dropped out. Now, his technology was with respect to USSD services in mobile phones. I'm sure those of you in electronics would know what is USSD services. He also did very well. In fact, he was trying to explore partnership with BSNL and even Tata Idea at that time. He had even visited and was in an advanced stage of discussions with them. I am told that Tata Idea was quite impressed with the technology. But of course, he didn't strike a formal deal at that time because they also go through stages of discussions. So this is the story of the MS Entrepreneurship Program from 2005 to 2011 till the time the last student had joined. I am aware. There was one more student who joined, but he didn't. He was admitted but didn't join the program from IIT Bombay. That happened a little later. I think it was 2013 or 14. 2015, I was coordinating the program until then. Of course, there were some people who had joined even later. One of them is running a very good company, Pi Beam, I think it's PI-BEAM. Just check that. Pi Beam. The company is doing quite well now. Okay, Pi Beam Technologies. Okay. They're doing quite well. I think he's also from Kerala. That person is also from Kerala. Okay. I think his name also starts with B. I'm not immediately getting the name. Okay. Then, Pi Beam. Correct. And there's another person who joined in the Department of Electrical Engineering. That was later. But until 2015, I coordinated the program. So 2005 to 2015, I was coordinating the program, primarily in the role of a mentor for the people who had joined that program. 2015, I had taken long leave from IIT Madras. I worked in a small art science. Pardon, sir?
Vishak, is that a Vishak Shashikumar of Pibin?
Vishak. Yes, Vishak. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Founder and
Vishak.
CEO.
Yes, Vishak. Yeah, yeah, correct.
It's in the,
Occasionally, I'm in touch with them also. They're doing well, actually. Again, this is evidence that our young people can come with some fantastic ideas. Vishak's idea is a last mile connectivity idea. I hope you got it. One of the serious problems in our country. Last mile connectivity in distributing products and services. Okay. I can reach a place via a plane. I can reach a place via a truck or a lorry or a container. Then I can reach a place via uh, what we call Yanakuti, Tata Ace, or I can reach a place in a small three-wheeled carrier, okay, or sometimes in a very small auto also. I can also reach a place with a moped carrier. I think all of you know this, okay. So last mile connectivity is a very serious issue in our country, especially because of the kind of habitations we have. So Vishak filled that pain point. He's doing quite well. I know he's doing quite well. Okay. Now, the other guy, I forget his name. He is in the research park running a air conditioning technology services company. Very interesting air conditioning technology. Very novel and interesting. Okay. So I forget his name. I'll share with you. So this is the story. After 215, I went to a small college in Pollachi, Art Science Commerce College, on without pay leave from IIT Madras. I'm a slightly crazy guy that way. I didn't want any pay from IIT Madras. I took 1 year's leave, worked with that college. Why? Because I was very keen to learn from a rural institution. That institution had about 3,000 students, quite a good institution, run by a good management, three or four businessmen, quite rich people. But through their institution, they have been offering good services. I was convinced of their integrity and passion for good education. So I joined them. And 1 year I really benefited. 15, 16, I was there. And most of the students in that institution are very poor people. More than 95% come from extremely poor families, extreme poverty conditions, and obviously first generation learners. But sometimes I also learned my lesson. Young people, they don't care how poor they are. They want to show, they want to show that they have a mobile phone. They want to show that they have a motorbike or some two-wheeler. None of them wants a moped. And I also came across a handful of cases where they blackmail their parents, saying, if you don't get me a mobile phone or a motorbike, I'll commit suicide. I used to think, what nonsense. The guy or the girl doesn't realize what kind of a circumstance he or she is living in. I mean, how fool. Please understand, our young people are also fools this way because their energies are going in the wrong direction, totally wrong direction. I have to have a mobile phone or a motorcycle, not scooter, only motorcycle, and preferably a Pulsar. So to be in with my crowd, otherwise I'm not in with my crowd. So this is the wrong logic people use. Okay. Anyway, that was good. So after 2015, the program has changed, and I've learned that after 2015 there have been no enrollments in the program. I think this year they are attempting again. Very good team led by Professor Ashwin Mahalingam of Civil Engineering. He's a very good young professor of IIT Madras, very passionate about entrepreneurship. He heads the EESI of IIT Madras now, and I'm sure the program will see great future. So this is what I had wanted to share with you about the MS by Entrepreneurship program, but research-oriented entrepreneurship program. I'll be happy to take your inputs now and respond to you if necessary. Vishal?
yes, sir.
So this is it.
The session is open to you all. If you have any queries, you can discuss with sir. Please.
Please.
Sir, actually, I have a question, sir.
Yeah, sure.
So normally we have a syllabus while we comparing to other engineering. Let us take mechanical engineering. We have a subject, we have syllabus framed by the university, but entrepreneurship is slightly different from that. We can't
Absolutely.
learn everything from the textbook and gain knowledge. So what are the method you guys suggest or you guys follow in IITM for MS in entrepreneurship?
Very good. Now, uh, this comes from the premise that there are aspects of entrepreneurship that cannot be taught. But likewise, Vishal,
Yes.
there are aspects of entrepreneurship that can be taught.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we try to do that. And you must know that there are good institutions in India that teach degree programs in entrepreneurship.
Oh.
EDI Ahmedabad, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of Ahmedabad.
Okay.
NIESBUD, NIESBUD in Delhi.
Okay.
We have several state level entrepreneurship institutions also which run short term and medium term programs on entrepreneurship. Okay. It
Yes.
is probably to give people confidence. Very often, we should enable young people to cross the confidence barrier.
Yes.
Very often people are diffident. They ask themselves the question, can I do this? And very often they deceive themselves by saying, okay, I'll work for 4 or 5 years and then I will become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And then never happens. I can tell you that much. Okay.
Yes.
Sometimes it does happen. Okay. Because we know of Kentucky Fried Chicken, where at the age of 65 plus, the person became an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So
Absolutely.
that happens. Here's another. There are some very interesting people, even in our country, who became entrepreneurs or business people much later in their lives.
Yes.
But that's okay. You are right. There are some aspects of entrepreneurship which cannot be taught, but there are some aspects of entrepreneurship that must be taught.
Sure.
I hope you got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
At least some principles must be taught in accounting, finance, human resources management. I hope you got it.
Yes.
Basic operations management, creativity, law, forms of organization, etc.
Yeah. So thank you.
That is the point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
a foundation curriculum must be taught. Vishal.
Yes, sir. And the question is, sir, actually, MS in research is familiar to all, but MS in entrepreneurship is new to me personally.
Yeah.
And if a candidate has an idea, like if he is good in and has an idea, he can really join for MS entrepreneurship. But before that, I want to know what is the age limit, minimum age limit or maximum age limit set for MS in entrepreneurship?
My suggestion is don't put a limit, Vishal. Is there an
Like,
age limit in PhD? It's
no.
notional.
Yeah.
It's notional.
Yes.
I have, in fact, right now, I have an officer from the Kerala State Electricity Board, and I
Okay.
thank God for associating me with him. Such a source of knowledge, fantastic. He has a problem. I'm sharing with you because of an interesting. I know he's clearly above 50, probably above 55 also.
Right.
Okay, probably
Yeah.
above 55.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I thought he would be the first PhD student to finish after I retired. Unfortunately, this COVID came and screwed up everything for everybody, in many ways. He has not been able to come and sit with me. And we have a joint publication in Energy Policy, which is one of the top journals. And I've been amazed at the knowledge that this person has shared. Of course, he has his own limitations. He's not very effective in communicating in English. So I always tell him, you first think in Malayalam, write in Malayalam. I'll get the translation done in English. So please don't write in English for heaven's sake. Okay. So I used to tell him this. But somehow I think he continued. But he's good. I respect him hell of a lot. And I really thank, because there are such people also. In fact, I have a 65-plus-year-old person associated with me who is dropped out of his PhD program, effectively. I keep calling him, saying, please don't do this. See, there's no, Vishal,
Yes.
once a teacher, always a student. Never
Yeah.
forget this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the point. So don't put an age limit. You discover it's your job to test these people, whoever is the applicant. Go through the application, the credentials, the academic credentials, the basic proposal or the idea, etc. Run them through the tests and interviews and select them if you find them fit. That's all I will say. Don't put an age limit.
Thank you,
Of
sir.
course, the age limit can be a governance criteria for your institution. That's a
Okay.
different point. I don't want to get into that. I
Yeah.
was only sharing a principle, Vishal. That's all.
That's thank you. Thank you. Any other questions, please?
Okay. No, generally we have a lot of starting trouble in question answer sessions.
Yes, sir. So, sir, it seems everyone
Okay,
wants me to express their appreciation for your
sure.
inspiring presentation
Thank you.
today. Yeah,
Thank you.
your years of research, your depth of understanding of user interfaces, and your ability to present the subject in such an interesting way, apart from your age limit, we produce one of the most memorable session. I personally appreciated your approach to anticipating users' intents. The subject really intrigues me, and I plan to learn more on MS in entrepreneurship. Actually, we are very fortunate to have you here, and on behalf of everyone presented here, and on behalf of the fraternity of our college, MES College of Engineering, Kuchipuram, I extend my gratitude to you, sir. We would like to hear from you for our future endeavors, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
I have a question, Vishal.
Sure, sir.
Uh, how many of the members of the audience would consider initiating thoughts about such a program in your institutions?
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
being
sir.
very careful with my words.
Yeah.
Okay. How many of you will at least commence dreaming about such a program?
Yeah. Please.
Maybe you can send your answers to Vishal.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
We will include in the
Yeah, maybe
feedback.
you can
And
even. How many of you will say, "I'll think about commencing dreaming"? Even that's a good start. Okay,
yes,
that
sir.
will be a good outcome. And I truly believe our engineering education can transform a lot after uh, such programs are brought in.
Yes.
So today, IIT Madras is arguably the top institution in startups and technology on the deep tech entrepreneurship, as they say.
Yeah.
I'm also aware of the kind of strides made by the institute. There are quite a few people who have contributed very, very greatly to that, and I think this is worthy of replication in many of the other institutions.
Yes, sir.
So I will
We,
end with that, and thank you, Vishal.
yes, sir. Very, very good, sir. Very good. We had a very session for you. Thank you for your acceptance and
Sure,
having a wonderful
sure,
session over here, sir.
sure.
We'll in contact with you.
Yeah, I will leave anytime. If somebody wants, they can contact me. You can share my email ID and mobile phone number with any of the participants. No problem.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Actually,
Thanks.
we struggled a lot to get your mobile number.
Oh my God, it's
That's
quite open. I've told friends, please share my mobile number, because I'm a person who never bothers about getting disturbed even at 2:30 in the night.
yeah, yeah. That I know.
Because
That
I know people have good judgment. They won't call me 2:30 in the night to ask which toothpaste to buy. you know, I'm very confident. People
yes.
have good sense also. I trust that sense. So no problems at all. Please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. Okay.